So I've been learning Japanese for a few years now, and I must say that YouTube has been one of the most helpful resources in my Japanese learning journey. Today, I'm going to talk about some of my favorite channels for learning Japanese. If you have any other channels to recommend, please leave them in the comments section below. The first channel is really famous and needs no introduction. Misa from Japanese Amo has been putting up many helpful Japanese lessons. Her videos are great for beginners as she explains a lot of Japanese grammar points and goes into great details about them. What I really appreciate about her videos are the subtitles. I think you can really see the kind of effort she puts into her videos just by looking at the way she does her subtitles. She has a variety of videos where she also introduces manga suitable for different Japanese levels as well as listening activities. Another channel that's very similar to Misa's channel is Miku Real Japanese. She also does a lot of explanations about Japanese grammar as well. To be honest, I didn't used to watch many of her videos, but what I really like is that recently, she's been putting up a lot of these conversational videos where she speaks with other Japanese about their lives. So these are great for doing full immersion, and you can click on the subtitles if you want to refer to them. Now, one channel that isn't really that popular, but has been so helpful for my Japanese study is Cure Dolly. It's one channel that I think all Japanese learners should watch, and it's a pity that not many people know of this channel. When I first stumbled on the videos, I was really mind blown by the content and the way she explains Japanese grammar in a way that makes so much sense. If you just look at the comments on her videos, you will see how helpful her videos are. She says that the problem with most Japanese textbooks is that they try to interpret Japanese from a Western perspective, and this really messes up our understanding of the Japanese language. I must warn you though that her videos might seem kind of strange at first because you really have to get used to listening to this android that's speaking, and it does have a really odd voice. But I do recommend that you look past that and watch it for its content because you will not regret it. I personally watch her videos at 1.5 or 2 times the speed and have gained so much from them. Now, if you're watching my channel, then I think you might probably already have seen Benjiro's channel before. He basically records his conversations with Japanese speakers, and as they speak, he types and translates some of the words so that we can also learn from them. This was a channel that I first used when I started trying to immerse myself with more Japanese. He makes it a point to use simple Japanese and talk about topics that are easy to understand. I remember that I used to just play many of these conversations on loop, and it helped improve my listening skills by so much. I was kind of disappointed that he stopped recording new videos, but he was the inspiration for me to also record my own conversations and put it online. With language learning, I think it's important not just to learn the content of the language itself, but to also understand the process behind language acquisition. So for this, Matt vs. Japan was such an insightful channel. I was very impressed by how Matt got to a near native-like level of fluency. If there's one thing I learned from his videos at all, it's the importance of immersion. After watching his videos, I started to put Japanese podcasts into my phone and play them on loop all day. I think I did see quite some improvement in my Japanese after I started doing that. I'm not sure if I agree with all his ideas. For example, he thinks that it's important to not start shadowing or doing Japanese output right away until you've immersed yourself enough. I think I might disagree with that, but at the same time, it does depend on what kind of learner you are and what kind of level you intend to achieve. And then there's also Dogen with his pitch accent lessons. I think his videos are very helpful in helping you to understand the basics of pitch accent. He does have a full course on his Patreon account in which he goes into detail about pitch accent and how it works. I tried to watch some of them, but I do think they are a little too technical for me personally. However, I do think the concept of pitch accent is important to a certain degree. I would recommend that you at least watch the pitch accent videos that are available on his YouTube channel because simply by knowing that pitch accent exists, you will be able to pay attention to it. This will help you sound a little more natural when you speak Japanese. It's something I wish I had known about earlier because I think I would have been a lot more conscious when learning new words, and I think I might sound a lot better speaking Japanese now. Once you start getting comfortable with listening to Japanese, I think it's important to move on to learning Japanese in Japanese. For that, some of the channels are Nihon no Mori and Sambon Juku. Now these channels are already famous, so I won't speak too much about them. What these channels do is a lot of explanations of Japanese grammar using Japanese. Nihon no Mori also does explanation of lyrics from famous Japanese songs. So if listening to Japanese music is a thing for you, then this might be something you'd like to explore. Another channel that I stumbled upon but I really like is Tempura Sensei's channel. I started watching his N3 grammar videos and found them so entertaining and so easy to understand. His videos and explanations are completely in Japanese, but because he uses very good visuals and examples, they are very easy to understand. He also has a really good sense of humor, so I recommend watching his videos because he actually makes grammar learning fun. The last channel that I use to study Japanese is Akane Sensei's channel. Her channel is also fully in Japanese. She does a lot of live streams about different topics where she interacts with the viewers. Because most of her viewers are Japanese learners, she speaks clearly and slowly, so it's pretty easy to understand. I used to just play many of these live streams in the background and treated it as sort of immersion learning. She also films herself in various Japanese settings, like going to the bread shop to buy bread, and she explains phrases that you might use. So I think it's really practical for people studying Japanese who are planning to live in Japan. So in summary, these are all my favorite channels for learning Japanese. Of course, my Japanese is still not great, but hey, I'm still trying. And if you also have any great channels to recommend, please leave them in the comments section below. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you again next time.